let's jump right into it. The map is up and loaded. It's daybreak for game number 3 between these two players.
Game number 3 at the WCS Season 1 Finals in our best of 3 between Kangho and Alicia. We have our Zerg player starting to the bottom left of the map. It is
LGIM Kangho from Korea.
Kangho here, and he is up against a Protoss opponent who was able to win game number 2, starting to the top right of the map. In red, Team Axiom.
Axiom Alicia from America.
Named himself after a dungeon fighter character he really liked. In fact, a male, not actually a girl named Alicia.
Really? I did not know that.
Just you know, confirming for everybody out there who you know for some reason didn't know, perhaps.
We have once again a gateway opening for the Protoss player here. So Alicia is going into the gateway. He loves to start with this style. That's exactly what we see him execute in game number 3 as well as in 1 and 2. And let's see what is going to happen from Kangho. What is he going to show us? In game number 1, he started double hatch before going into the spawning pool, and then in the second game he decided to play very aggressive as well. Well, in terms of greed, played a very greedy opening here. Once again, the hatch first. But what are we going to see in regards to the third base? This is what interests me the most at this point. Will he try to get the early third out once again?
Yeah, that's the question here, and we'll find out very soon what is the plan here. I'm kind of curious to see what Alicia's going to show, because he's already shown us a lot of Stargate play, and you know, this is just a typical style that he's shown. He's talked about this in interviews, and he's just actually continuing to fake this idea of a forge build going down. So he sends the probe over here. Kangho, without a drone scout, doesn't know 100%. He actually commits 5 drones. We talked about this before. It's like, how much is he really going to commit if Alicia fakes? He's just being careful here.
He knows that actually he moves back now. He assumes it's a fake because he doesn't see a forge at the front. There could always be a forge in the main base, but right now, if you're on a map like Daybreak, if you don't see the forge at the front and not even a pylon, you assume that this is going to be a gateway opening. But he pulled a few of the drones off the mineral line, and I can certainly respect that decision. It's just playing it a little bit safe. After all, we are in the third game.
This is the third game for sure, and you don't want to play against MVP, but in this case, you want to play against MVP because he's in the winner's match.
Yeah, you definitely want to. We have now the Nexus, and let's see, we have 420. Is Kangho gonna send out this drone again for the third base? Would be ill-advised.
I mean, he's walking into a trap if he does. I mean, he's walking, not even into a trap, he's walking into a brick wall.
Yeah, he has all the information that matter to him, and he should know what's going on here. Start to delay the third a little bit at least, but he is walking over there. I think there's only a Zergling, right? Or is he really gonna drop the hatch?
Yeah, Zergling.
It's a link. Okay, so we don't have the fast third for him in this game.
He's sending a drone over there now. I mean, so it's not as fast, but
it's a little bit later. Still at before the 5-minute mark. To be quite frank, I don't like it.
I don't like it either, and it's all about whether Alicia scouts it or not, whether you can punish it. And he's sending a probe right now, and I think he will actually find this.
Yeah, Kangho doesn't really have to do this. He can go into a fast attack here. This is him taking a risk, and it's a risk that he probably... He's well aware of what he's doing here, so he has to get the perfect scouts out now. He has to find out exactly what's going on, and it would be a mistake for him to overdrown. And as long as he's really careful, he can still make that work. But you can see gate number 2 and 3 now coming up for Alicia at the front wall. And let's see what Alicia is going to do. He loves the Stargate, and if he attacks with with 1 or 2 Void Rays and then goes into the aggression, he could really try to just go down onto that third again.
You could tell Alicia was considering dropping a pylon. Well, he's actually dropping one now in plain sight, but he was considering dropping a pylon at the 4th base of Kangho and decided not to do it after he was spotted, but he's still going to make it. And the Roach Warren very late once again. I think he could try to cancel that third hatchery, or at least target it down. It's going to be close.
36 Harvesters, not committing to more than that. Roach Warren is 6-minute mark is kind of in time, but the pylon is going down and the warp gate research is done. Stargate is being built, but he can always warp in a couple of units just to be aggressive here.
A little bit surprised he's not, to be honest.
Kangho wants to just I mean, so right now it actually looks like he's gonna fake it a little bit.
Yeah, he fakes it. He makes him make Zerglings, and he might even start Roaches too here, which is not what you would want to spend your resources on. You want to, of course, spend your larva on those drones at this moment in time. I like this fake.
Yeah.
He even goes into the Roaches now, so he's been totally duped with that pylon. I
Has to
really
go
like
into
it.
Roaches. I mean, if he doesn't, he has no scouting information. There's no overload over there.
What
So
if there's suddenly like a group of 8 zealots? He waits for a warp and then runs over. Then you're
If he
dead.
doesn't commit to a few Roaches, then he would die to any kind of aggression, and he's trying to avoid that. He still doesn't know about the Stargate to the top right, and at this rate, he might never find out until we have the first few Phoenixes or Void Rays in the game. Here comes now a warp in to shield that pylon.
Yep.
That's all that he can do with this. Probably not going to save it. Those zealots don't have the +1 attack upgrade.
Yeah, and they can't fight the Roaches, but he trades decently actually against the Lings, and that buys him some time. He cancels the Phoenix, goes into Void Ray, starts +1. Did not make additional pylons though, so he was actually going to get supply blocked by losing this.
Well, currently what we're looking at is the pylon gone, and therefore a lot of the pressure taken off Kangho, who goes into the lair tech and adds the extra gas. He didn't really get a lot of upgrades just yet for his army, so looking at it, we don't have anything. There is no speed for the Zerglings, and he is just committing the first 100 gas that he has straight into the lair tech. And let's see how he's going to react against what we have now by Alicia. Alicia is going down to the 3rd and is already dropping the pylon.
Shows the Void Ray too.
He wants to go into another base.
Yeah, and now Kangho's going to realize, uh-oh, it's this Void Ray shenanigans again. It's Alicia, he's really good at Void Rays. He's going to attack now. He's going to attack faster so that he can defend against this, or rather stop this hatchery, or stop the Nexus before he has multiple Void Rays that's going to make it easier to defend.
Kangho's units, they are so motivated. Even a Joan is now going up with the entire army and is like, okay, I want to fight as well. I know I can't do a lot of damage, guys, but I'm going to help you.
As soon as the fight starts, he's just going to become an extractor, though.
Okay.
Look at how desperate he is here to slow this down.
Yeah.
He wants the Nexus to finish. If he can finish the Nexus, he can use the overcharge.
So he's falling back now, but the idea behind this is as following. Kangho saw the forward pylon and he prepared units because he expected gateway aggression against the 3rd. He got away with the 3rd base. That leaves him in a good position in economy, but the army that he has on the map was useless. There was nothing to defend against, so he saw the 3rd and just said, okay, well, you know what? Those units might as well be committed to aggression and trying to do a bit of damage, maybe forcing you to alter your build. But them sitting at the 3rd, that doesn't help me. So he tried to do something, but then he saw the Void Rays, and the Void Rays alone against the Roach is just way too strong. He doesn't have Zergling speed yet, so he can't go for an immediate run by. But
those he only uses one Void Ray charged up so that he can still kill these but not waste all of the energy.
And Alicia's going into the double Stargate once again after he started with the initial one. So 3 in total. He's also on 3 bases. That gives him a very good economy to pull it off.
He's basically doing the exact same build to the T that he did last game. Obviously, the transitions for Kangho are a little bit different, but he's going to be very aggressive here. He doesn't have a forward pylon, but he has a lot of damage output.
6 queens, that's what we have here. He needs to have those queens. This is that build that we talked about earlier. The build that Alicia showed several times at WCS America against all those Zergs that he defeated. Where are the transfuses?
That was terrible. He had enough energy for transfuses and didn't use them. The recall, excellent by Alicia. He just loses a base for no reason.
Was that a conscious decision to say, okay, you're gonna kill this base and I might as well not commit to the transfuse?
No, I don't think that doesn't make any sense to me. He also could have targeted down the mothership core with his queens a little bit better and forced the units to be stuck there and not be able to use the recall. And as it is, not only does he have the recall, but he also has the photon overcharge he can use here to defend this hatchery.
Alicia has used this strategy in WCS America countless times against Zerg. It's strong and it's very, very hard to stop.
Yeah, I mean, that's how he got here, some would argue, is with this type of strategy. It's how he got to the global finals in the first place.
And Kangho now, what is he going to do? He knows exactly what's going to happen. He knows fully well what Alicia is trying to pull off here. And he is going into much faster infestors this time. We have a lot of them being built. He's going for those chain fungals. That's something that he attempted in the last game, but it was already a little bit too late after he invested this much gas into his Mutalisk transition. That didn't work. They were shut down. He lost all of them, did not do enough damage, but this time he's skipping the Mutalisk and he's going straight into mass infestor.
You see that one Zergling was like, I'm gonna die, but I'll take the last zealot out, but it did not work. The cannon here a little bit late, but with just a warp in, he should be totally fine.
He leaves also an additional void ray over here that can help out.
Yeah, look at that, losing very little, only like 2 probes I think in total there, maybe even only 1.
That was a very good build that we have by Alicia. He has a safe third base. He took down the third of his opponent, got a bit of a lead there. He knows that Kangho is going into double bases after this, trying to get a third and a fourth up. But from Alicia's point of view, this game is...
Couldn't go much better.
Yeah, he would have liked to kill a little bit more, but the recall was great, did save all his units. He has a very fierce army now with a lot of Void Rays going into more upgrades, even adding shield upgrades now.
10 Void Rays and 3 Phoenixes. The Phoenix is going to help him against the Infestors a little bit here.
This is all about the Infestors and the Queens now. A lot of Queens, a lot of Transfuse energy, and a lot of energy for Fungals. And more Queens are being built.
He's going to try to snipe this hatchery. You think he can get it? I don't know if this is a good idea.
I do not think that he should commit here.
Yeah.
That is just too much that's on the map for Kangho. Way too much.
If he had somehow sneaked around the top left, maybe that would have worked out for him. Robotics goes down as he starts to realize he's going to need something for the Infestors. And the Twilight Council will help, of course, to get the Templar out.
The Roaches are an answer to the Zealots that we see. With this many Zealots, you need something to shield those Queens a little bit and those Infestors. The Queens are there for the Transfuse and for the anti against the Void Rays. The Infestors alone, of course, for the Fungals. He's getting one off.
Oh, really nice Fungal here. He might have to recall.
He needs to get it. He's trying to go for the Infestor Terrans. A few of the Infestors are down. The arrest is being lifted by the by the Phoenixes, but they're not enough. And the Queens, they're now moving in. Problem with those Queens is always they are just so slow. It's actually... Watching them is actually really annoying when they're off creep.
Yeah, the time warp slows them down so much they seem to move backwards when they're off creep walking.
Yeah, they're just like one of those really old women with their rollator. It's basically the guy that we had in Despicable Me.
It's like a sloth.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Well, you know, charge going down, +1 shield's about to finish. There's the important Temple Archives. With that, he can feed back almost everything Kangho has, whether it's Queens or Infestors.
If you pin up a snail in a race against a Queen, the
snail wins 100%.
It is going to win 100 times. Snail is going to be winning with flying colors. Going to be like, whee!
Well, here comes the split on the Void Rays. Very nicely done, but he doesn't have anything for those infested Terrans. This is the problem.
If he gets a good Fungal right now, those infested Terrans will do a lot of damage. But I think that a mass Fungal would have been even a better choice. And now the infested Terrans are gone. He doesn't have a lot of energy left on those Infestors. But the Protoss player is down in supply, and those Roaches at the third base, they're doing an excellent job against the economy.
Yeah. That's part of the problem that's part of the reason why he's falling in supply so much, is losing all of his workers. Yeah. He's down now to only 60 harvesters versus the 75.
31 harvesters have been killed, but those Void Rays, they are still alive. I really think that trying to commit to a mass Fungal would have been the better choice.
At least 2 Fungals with those.
Yeah, the Infested Terrans didn't really do a lot of damage.
Yeah, if he had 2 Fungals there, and then the Void Rays couldn't run and use the rest of his energy on the Infested Terrans while the Queens are doing damage, I would have liked that much better.
Alicia adjusted his build going into High Templars, and they are not only there for the Storm, he wants to have feedback.
He will feedback the Queens like crazy.
Queens, Infestors, getting those feedbacks off is going to help him a lot. But Kangho has now a really good position, considering that he's not only 40 supply ahead, but he has 4 bases going into a 5th base, and he's going into Corruptors. He's also on Hive. So this is now a position where he can start to get a few Vipers into the game if he wants to. Against the High Templars, he will be a little bit reluctant, but he could try to pull it off once that there are just too many Void Rays for his opponent to just get them into Queen range.
Yeah. Exactly.
And talking about Queens, I'm a little bit disappointed that Kangho isn't spreading his creep a little bit more aggressively, considering how much he commits here to the Queens.
It's like if one of your units is twice as good on creep, and it's one of the units you're relying on, it would stand to reason you would want to have your creep a little bit further spread out there. He wants to get the chain follow again. The Templar actually stuck a little bit here at the back. He needs to be very careful. And don't forget, he could go into Greater Spire at any time to start the Broodlords.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a chain funnel here if he gets in range. He's dropping 1, and the 1 is good. It's really good.
Yeah, stops those Templar in their tracks.
On the Queens, taking on 2 of them, and here comes the Fungal. Maybe not.
Oh, not on the Void Rays. He hits the Templar, but the cannon's doing work, and now the Void Rays, as long as they attack, they're actually going to be fine. He only has a few Fungals left.
Oh, the Sea Ray is dropping in supply. Alicia played this so calm and collected, so cautious. He had so much patience there, and now the Queens are gone.
I love Alicia's playstyle. I really do.
It's very smart.
It's calculated. I don't know if this is the right word, but it just feels professional. It's like he's got something to handle every situation. He knows every possible outcome of every fight and how he's going to split his units. You know, we've seen him split more than the players we saw in the up and downs just the other day, and Alicia really on top of his game right now, and he's used the strategy consistently over and over and over again, and everybody's studied that, but still they just can't stop him. It's just so impressive.
If you're up against this many Infestors, the decision to go into High Templars should come natural to you.
Right.
You need something to just keep those Infestors at bay, and that's what he does here. When Killer was playing his game, he had a huge problem and just clumped up everything and lost it. But with those Tempests and the High Templars that he had, the Infestor should have never gotten close enough in the up and downs. Now we have a similar scenario. Here come those Fungals.
Yeah, this
they
is very
go
similar.
In, but those Infestors are already driven back by the Infestors, by the High
Archons, the
Templars,
Zealots,
and by the
everything.
Zealots. Exactly, so they can't get close enough again.
And he tries to get another Fungal. It's good, and he gets one more.
At what cost? He lost so many Infestors already.
He's lost way too much, and at what cost indeed. It looks like the hatchery will now fall. Congo down way in supply. GG. Alicia will go on to the final match, and we will not have a team kill winners match.
He continues his streak against Zerg players. Congo looking very strong in game number 1, having a perfect build against Alicia's style, but then in the following 2 matches, the Protoss player for Team Axiom takes the wins, and therefore the win in the best of 3 will now advance to go up against MVP in the winners match.
Yeah, so no team kill in the winners match. So, you know, the funny thing is, yeah, it's a team kill, but if they're both there, it means one LGIM player advances no matter what. And that's the one thing that is really cool about how LGIM is playing the WCS. They've sent players to multiple regions. There's, you know, supporting their players all over the globe. You know, wherever LGIM wants to send their players, they can support themselves and just kind of get that exposure.